Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Men for the Win is sponsored by the Grand Group with Edina Realty. Are you looking to purchase a new home in the Twin Cities area? Or perhaps you're trying to sell your current home? Whether you're upsizing or downsizing, the Grand Group with Edina Realty will meet all of your housing needs. Contact the Grand Group by emailing thegran, that's G-R-A-N, group, at edinarealty.com, or call them by phone at 612-817-8751. The Grand Group with Edina Realty, 7-time Minneapolis-St. Paul Magazine Super Agent Award winners. Men for the Win is part of the Pulltab Sports Network, covering sports, culture, and entertainment across the Midwest. Check them out at pulltabsports.com and give them a follow on all your social media platforms at Pulltab Sports. On this episode, Dan and Hoges recap the Twins' 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Well, thanks for tuning into Men for the Win. I am Dan Thompson. With me again, and I dare say as usual, lately, is Andrew Hoges Hoganson will be with me again next series recap as well. Heck, we might need a special episode here, Hoges, for all of the trades and things like that we might have to discuss. I am in location number 17 on the list here. I am now in Wenatchee, Washington, which if anybody has been there, it's in the middle of Washington. If anything could be in the middle, that's where it is. It's hot. I'm at a teaching conference, Hoges, but I was able to sneak away from my wonderful colleagues and all these educators to talk to you, Hoges. How is your day going?
It's going well. I gotta apologize for my voice in advance. I'm kind of pulling a David right now. It's really smoky in Minnesota thanks to those lovely Canadians up north. Every time we get cool weather here, it's just all the Canadian smoke blowing in. So you're like, oh, we get 75s, but it's going to be smoky. So I've been breathing in that air while I was working out today. So it's a little hoarse right now. I'm not sick, I don't think, but it's just that smoke is whoa.
Well, and David is on his way to Indianapolis, of course, to play board games. I don't think you got the email, Hoges, but he is prepared to play 78 board games over the next 3 days.
That's traumatizing. Like that is traumatizing. Honestly, I've thought about the number that I would have to get paid in order to go and do that. And I think it's 6 figures. I think 90,000, I'd be like, that's fine. I can't. It's not enough.
Well, careful what you say, because I lost a bet and ended up paying for his steak dinner tonight at St. Elmo
I am excited
Steakhouse.
to hear about that.
I am too. I got to be honest. I'm glad to contribute to his experience. People who are listening, if you've never been to Indianapolis, you got to go to St. Elmo. People who have been to Indy probably know what I'm talking about. A couple of the Midwest notes. Well, maybe one. So I watched Field of Dreams recently, Hoges. You've seen Field of Dreams, I assume.
I have.
So a couple things came to mind. How have I not, in all the times I've recorded in Iowa, used a sounder from that movie? Now, I didn't even have time to record one now, but I'm baffled that this hasn't come to me yet. But it's the balm right now for the painful wound that is the trade deadline for me.
Yeah.
Because
oh man,
I am loving baseball right now. I guess I can play, or I'm not loving baseball right now, but I can play this sounder right now.
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
And I got a lot of ways to not be romantic about baseball right now. I don't know about you.
Well, I feel like your title was a little bit deceiving when you said that we're going to talk about the Red Sox Twins series. I don't know how much time we're really going to spend on the actual baseball that was played on the field this week.
Well, let's start. Let's just go ahead and we'll get to the series recap and go from there.
Series recap.
Game 1, Twins win this game 5-4
Unbelievably.
in weird fashion, Noakes. So obviously it's Deshaun Kersey Jr. getting the scoring started here. I railed against Deshaun Kersey Jr. really all season, but especially after he tossed a baseball to Dude Bros, Hoges. But he starts this off with a 2-run homer, and it's 2-0 Twins. Then bottom of the 4th, just maddening. The Twins load the bases on a Clemens walk, a Lewis single, and a Wallner single. That was per Phil Miller's stat here. It was Wallner's first hit this year with 2 players on base. He's now 1 for 20 with players on base, Hoges. And somehow Clemens doesn't score. How are you not trying to score here? Cody Clemens.
Yeah, I have no idea. I rage quit this game twice, if I'm being totally honest with you. Because I don't know, Dan. I had good vibes going into this series because it seems like whenever you and I have been involved, especially this year,
yes,
if nothing else, we're getting good baseball games. That Seattle series was phenomenal. The Dodgers series, I thought was pretty good. It was a fun one to talk about. And then, how this one was going, I was like, we're playing the Red Sox. We're 5 games back. We sweep them. We're right in it.
We're right in it. I don't know about that, Hoges.
We're closer to being
closer. So anyway, in the bottom 4th, the Twins don't score because then France strikes out and Vasquez does what Vasquez does very well. He grounded into a double play. You got to think at some point, Vasquez, can you not just get Like, can you bunt? Like, can you do something unexpected here?
Well, and they show that stupid stat, like expected runs with the bases loaded, 2.69 runs, and then it's like, I bet they get 0.
There should be an asterisk, I think, for the Twins on those stats
Right?
there, because I think they're not doing any of that like that. In any case, back into this game here. So SWR is doing all right until the 5th inning, but he allows 2 on, and then a 3-run home run to Alex Bregman, who had a great at bat there, but then he gave him something pretty middle. Some redemption in the bottom of the 6th for Vasquez, who hits a sac fly to left with the bases loaded, and it's 3-3, and then we're fine, really, until the top of the 9th when Duran, making his final appearance for the Twins, walks Abraham Toro, who's pinch run for by David Hamilton, and this gives me a chance, of course, Hoges.
I am not throwing away my shot.
Steals 2nd and then 3rd, Hoges, something the Twins have done, once this whole season, and Hamilton goes and does it?
The stealing 2nd, though, is actually, I talk about this a lot, but Correa's baseball IQ is just unbelievable. He held so there's an overthrow by Jeffers when Hamilton stole 2nd, or Vasquez, and Correa held the glove on Hamilton, acting like he had the ball, and Hamilton would have cruised into 3rd on that play. In my head, again, it was one of those moments where it's like, write this down. This could be a game-defining moment. And then, like, the next pitch, he steals 3rd, and you're like, oh, well, okay, there was that.
So then Hamilton scores on an RBI single by Roman Anthony. It's 4-3, and then the storms come through. There's been storms like all week, haven't there been?
Yeah, I live out on the west side of the cities in the St. Michael area, and we lost tons of trees. So this hit us probably in about the 8th inning. So watching the game was surreal because it looked fine, like during the 9th and everything. And I'm literally like, it was so windy out. We didn't have sirens or anything, but I've never seen trees like hitting my neighbor's house so much. I almost brought all my whole family downstairs, but then it calmed down a little bit. And then you could just see it roll into target field in the middle of the 9th there. And you're like, this is we get to wait to come back for 3 more outs, and then we're going to lose the game. But I mean,
hey,
good things happened.
We will talk about that moment a little bit later, but the Twins do win that game in the bottom 9th. Then there's game 2.
And then did you have hope? Did you have hope after that? Were you like,
Don't give me hope.
Yeah,
I did bit, too. Right? I had a lot. I really did. I thought I'm exaggerating with the we're right back in it, but still, like you come out with a little bit of fire there, and then you think, okay, maybe this team isn't quitting yet. Maybe.
With all due respect, sir, I believe this is going to be our
exactly.
finest hour.
We'll get to this so much more in this, but every interview I've had that you've heard with these guys over the last 2 weeks, because our beat writers are just obsessed to the max with the trade deadline.
Yeah.
The Twins' answers have been almost as frustrating because it's just like, yep, we accept that that's the situation you're in. Then win some games.
Totally.
They win all these series out of the All-Star break. We are not talking about what we're talking about right now. And I hate how they keep luring me in, but they did in game 1, not to the max. But I thought if they can come out of this series with a sweep, bring the Red Sox back down a little bit, because that is one of the teams they're chasing in the wild card, there's a chance here. And it was all downhill from here.
It was, because the Red Sox win game 2, 8-5. Pearson Ole gets his first start in the majors. We're going to have a lot of that phrase, I think, over the next couple of months. Struck out 3 of his first 4 batters. What a highlight for him. But then things aren't great after that for him. 3 innings, 4 earned runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Ends up taking the loss. There is a lovely play, Hoges, that I'm very curious for you to talk about. But in the top of the 2nd, Harrison Bader robs Wilyer Abreu of a home run in center. And Aaron Gleeman's tweet was what? It was so dispiriting.
Yeah, he does just showing the scouts that he can still play center field. It's just so frustrating to me. And again, this team, frankly, I'm more mad at the team now because they've given them absolutely nothing to say we shouldn't sell. But what is there the point of even watching this anymore if I can't even enjoy plays like that without like looking on Twitter and then you just see, oh, he's getting himself ready for scouts. It's just, I texted both of you this, and frankly, my opinions almost have changed after today. This isn't a horrible baseball team. They're 5 games under 500. This is not a great baseball team or even a good baseball team, but we've been so much worse, and everyone's talking about them like they're the mid-90s teams that we had to suffer through forever. It's like, it's still a good team playing good players out there. I'm enjoying watching the games. I cannot wait until this trade deadline is over.
The rest of this game is not all that eventful, but it's kind of eventful. We're going to talk about a lot of this later, but Brooks Lee has himself a game the rest of the way here. He comes in for Correa, who left with kind of a migraine / reluctance to maybe, or I don't know, hesitation, reservations about being a Twin. anymore. I think it was it's a serious illness, Hogs. Top of the third, the inning, as we talked about, the Red Sox break it open with 4 runs, including a 2-run Trevor Story home run, so it's 4-0. Jhoan Duran adds another run on a deep shot to center in the top of the 5th. Twins get one back. They get a little bit back here by the end, but essentially it's really only Brooks Lee. He knocks in all 5 runs. We'll talk about him later. And then there's game 3, Hogs.
Hold on a second. Real quick, the pitching, who the Twins trotted out as their first 3 pitchers in this game, in a game that, hyperbole, but like the most important game of the season, you have to win if you even want a hope of keeping anyone. Tonkin, Funderburk. And the game was over after that. And then Sands and Varland ended up coming in when it got a little bit closer there at the end, but not really that close. It's just, the white flag waving of this team has been so frustrating and way too early, in my opinion.
Yes. Well, there's 50-something games left of baseball here. There's
Look at the Tigers last year. I mean, David is eating a wonderful steak dinner because of that. I mean, come on.
Where's our steak dinner, Hogs? Where's our night at Manny's or something like that here?
We got it. The guy says so many stupid things. You'd think we could trick him into one of these, but I guess he's a lot smarter than we give him credit for.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
David's dumb.
I'm sure he'll have something to meet that criteria the next time we speak.
I'm sure.
But to game 3. So the Red Sox win this 13-1. I'm monitoring this kind of as, between sessions here. And at first I thought, okay, all right, second inning, Trevor Story, Matt Wallner, they swap solo home runs, which I'm very pleased with Matt Wallner right now.
Wallner's second home run of the year. Wow. And almost as many hits as he has with guys on base.
His 13th home run. It was opposite field too. It was a real dinger. But in any case, it doesn't go well after that, Hogs. Zebby Matthews goes 4 1/3. I feel bad for him having to stand on that mound right now with everything collapsing around him. Right. 8 hits, 5 earned runs, no walks, 5 Ks. And then you talked about a weird collection of pitchers in game 2. Then we get Justin Topa, Noah Davis making his Twins debut. Cole Sands, Griffin Jacks in the weirdest thing that we're going to talk about later. And then Cody Clemens stepping in because I think since Castro's going to get traded, they got to have the other position player.
We need some sort of sounder or drinking game or something to making his Twins debut or making his Twins pitching debut, because it is going to be a parade this year.
It is going to be a parade. The Red Sox, so they scored 8 of the runs off the real pitchers and then 5 off of Clemens, but then 3 of those belong to Jacks.
Oh, we'll get into that. We will get into that.
Twins don't have a ton of chances. They go 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Kind of a weird moment, too, when Willie Castro is on deck, but then he's pulled out of the game, but he wasn't, at least as of our recording this afternoon, he wasn't traded yet.
Well, it's the same thing with the bro hug with Duran in game 2 when the bullpen catcher squeezed his butt, too, which was a really funny moment. But it was all, Talking Baseball was tweeting it. Everyone was like, oh, Duran got traded, which, he did eventually. But yeah, it's just, that's funny to me because they definitely knew what they were doing, right? That kind of looks like, he's probably getting traded. The Castro stuff is just weird. It's not like it's Paul Molitor out there or whatever.
Well, he's not been one to know his timing for ovations or leaving and entering the dugout. Like, that's not his strength. Harkening back to Buxton's cycle.
Can't get over how he hit that home run when Buxton was getting his cycle curtain call, and Castro hits the home run, is rounding the bases, and no one in the stadium cared at all. It's just phenomenal.
And so then just one last note on this game. Really, after the game, according to a tweet by Lavelli Neal of the Star Tribune, Rocco was in his office for like an hour after the game.
Yeah.
We will talk about kind of Rocco's reactions here, Hogs. But I do wonder, maybe Rocco was in there. He's sweaty after being out there in a baseball game for a while. I wonder if he was just reapplying deodorant. And it makes me think maybe he's got Duke Cannon deodorant in there because they make high-quality grooming products for hardworking men. Minnesota-based and with an all-new look, their clean new packaging features the Big D, and it's unmistakable on the shelves. Whether you go for a brick of soap, thick body wash, deodorant, hair care, beard care, or cologne, Duke Cannon will have you smelling your best, even at the trade deadline. Look for the Big D at Target, Walmart, Amazon, or DukeCannon.com. Once you try it, you'll be hooked. Work harder, smell better. Duke Cannon.
Catch 'em all, Kirby Puckett!
Puckett's Picks winner.
Hogs, I'm going to let you take the lead on this segment here. I'm feeling pretty good about how this segment turned out.
How fast can I talk? Everyone just, you can mute it for like 30 seconds and I'll give you like a little wave when you can unmute it again. But Dan wins with Matt Wallner. The Vice finally comes through. I'm not sure it was particularly that pretty. He only got 7 points. And then after that, it was
a very cute moose. Make all the boy moose go.
I already say that way too much, that line, and now it's like daily that I'm saying that. But listeners took Lewis 1. I think that's still a good pick in this situation. Correa got -1. I I feel like it's a little bit of karma because I got really lucky the last time when I saw the day-to-day thing, and then he ended up playing in all the games of the series when none of you picked him. This time, found out 2 days later that he was going on the 10-day IL, which is a bummer, but I think it's probably a little bit that this team is waving the white flag, and they want to make sure that he's not hurt. But I took Buxton. He got 0, so it's disappointing. It's disappointing.
So, but you still have the lead in the season series, so you have 13.5 points. I have 11 points. Did not get the bonus point because Brooks Lee actually did. He had the team high here, of course, with 14. Listeners have 9 points, and David has 7.5.
You know what we can officially say now, though, Dan? We now, as of this game right now, I care more about Puckett's picks the remainder of the season than I do the Twins win-loss record. We have officially hit that point.
That's
July
where we
30th.
Beast versus Bench.
Is losing fun? Is losing fun?
I have to give props for Deshaun Kersey Jr. here, hitting a home run, getting on base in the bottom of the ninth there in the game 1 to set off a huge rally for the Twins. But more in all seriousness, he might be the center fielder for this team for 50 of these games here down the stretch, unless something else happens. So, but he had a good series. Maybe he's learning how to hit at the major league level. He's going to have a chance, right?
This segment right now is just so tongue-in-cheek. I think, honestly, if both of us had our way, we would just skip it because I just don't really want to talk about it.
Because
Lee had a good series, right?
Absolutely.
That's the only one that really matters. Lee had a great game in game 1 with the walk-off hit. He's had quite a few of those this year, and a lot lately. It feels like I don't know. It feels like he's the only guy who hasn't quit. And maybe that's just me reading the tea leaves, and it's just a little bit of recency bias and everything. But in then game 2, he hit 2 home runs. It was the Brooks lead parade the first 2 games, and I felt like he's got that fire. Part of it is he knows he's not getting traded, right?
Yes.
That's a very safe bet, and so he's playing looser than half the team. But we'll get to that later. You're a professional. Mentality shouldn't be an issue in that situation. So I'm giving Lee credit for having it, but it's more of a detriment to the rest of the team for not having that.
Yeah, he was. I love this note. This is, I believe, from Phil Miller. But Lee became the 6th Twins player ever to homer from both sides of the plate in the same game.
Love it.
Roy Smalley Jr., Chili Davis, Ryan Doumit, Kenny Vargas, and my guy Jorge
Kenny
Polanco.
Vargas?
Isn't that weird that Kenny Vargas did that too?
I didn't even
Kenny
remember
Vargas
he was
is
a
on
switch
all
hitter.
of these lists.
He is.
He's got
It's
one of the
unbelievable.
longest home runs. Kenny Vargas is a shadow, like hovering over the Twins team.
Yeah,
he's
it's
everywhere
awesome.
in the media.
I love
it. In any case, so the 6th Twin, Jorge Polanco, memorably did that against the White Sox. So here we go, Hoges, to our bench spot. I'm going to go with, I picked this knowing that you were on the show and you like the nebulous thing. So the personification of the trade deadline itself is on the bench for me because of all the way that it's covered. Because of what it seems to have done to this team, it was like when the switch flipped to the coverage being about the trade deadline more than about how the games are going. That's when it actually seemed to coincide with the Twins not playing well.
For sure.
Because I think it happens
Absolutely.
all the way back to the Colorado Rockies. After the first loss they had to the Rockies right out of the All-Star break, it was like, oh, well, they got to sell. They don't have to be sellers, and I think it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. I think it's because the trade deadline is sitting there in the dugout, like right next to Rocco and right next to the guys, just staring them down, and it's just this evil specter that has come over baseball to do this trade deadline chalk, in mid-July.
You're leading right into mine. I gave my bench to Rocco because I don't think he handled that well at all. You have to block out the noise for your players, and that is one of the things that I think the coach has a huge influence on. So I agree with everything you said, and I put that a lot on Rocco because you're going to get the sports writers who are annoyingly pushing it because they want to talk about it. It's national news. Gleeman gets to write an article that all the Phillies fans are going to read today, so they love it. They eat that up. Fans hate it when you're a selling team. It's not an enjoyable time. But as a coach, you have to get your players to block that noise out and not give answers like, yep, we all know what's coming. Because I hate that answer because it's not coming if you win baseball games. Yeah. You just have to win baseball games. Then they won't trade people away. And I don't know about you, Dan, and I don't remember getting this frustrated about a trade deadline ever in my Twins career. And maybe that's because we have so many of these guys like Duran and Jax Duran already got traded. Jax could get traded. They have years of team control left, and it feels like we're not only punting on like the present, we're punting on the future, and we're going like 5 years into the future now when we're hoping to be good again. It's just, I don't think you ever get the return that you want for guys that are under team control that are already playing well when you're trading for prospects. But it just feels like it's taken on this hurricane type role in baseball right now, and I cannot wait until Friday.
Wise to not use a tsunami metaphor there, Hoges. I
good.
appreciate your choice there.
Ogres are like onions.
It's just the natural world. You got to be careful these days.
Be careful with it.
Let's move on here to continue that conversation in the rewind.
Rocco's Rewind.
So let's go to yours first, actually, because we're both talking about Game 3 here.
I think we could have talked about this about Rocco for a long time, but his handling of Jax at the end of the game today, I thought was absolutely abysmal. And that whole meeting in the club when Rocco was in the clubhouse for an hour was with Correa and Jax was livid after he gave up 3 singles right away, which seems to be a very Jax thing, right? Like weird things happen, little dink and dunk hits get through, and all of a sudden 3 guys on base. A run scores, Rocco pulls him out because now he can put a position player in there and puts Cody Clemens in there with 3 of Jax guys on base, and Jax is understandably frustrated. And I get Rocco's point. Now you can put a position player. There's big games coming up. You don't need Jax to finish that game, but players care about their stats. And is that a bit selfish? Yes, but I want them to care about their stats. I want them to want to be better. And then Clemens gives up a home run.
Just can't believe.
And all of those go on to
I'll tell you the
Jax.
truth. I'm a little confused by your tactics.
How do you do that to a reliever?
And then afterwards, Jax is the one saying that he was being selfish and needs to apologize. No, I want that fire. I want you to want to stay in that game. I realize that the game is over, but your ERA matters. That's your paycheck. Like, that is your livelihood. And for Rocco to just be like, to do that, I mean, I think it's the most frustrated I've ever been at Rocco in a moment that didn't actually matter baseball-wise at all. It just seems so tone-deaf towards his players. But I appreciate...
There it goes. And that was Gardy's
Good timing
Gripe.
again. It was good timing again.
That one was brought to you by Rocco, I believe. He does not want to be questioned anymore. But I'm going to question him. So looking forward, what do you do, Rocco? Like, how do you come back from the way that he handled this team over the last week? Because there's going to be more deals, almost undoubtedly. And I think we're resigned to that, and it kind of is what it is. Like, I think at this point, you have to keep making the deals. Otherwise, why did you make the deals that you've made so far? So does he pivot towards being like a manager of this young team? How do you handle Carlos Correa now? Which, we'll talk about him a little bit later. How do you handle Byron Buxton? Like, what do you do here to keep your team together? Or is he also waving the white flag on the season as well? Because I don't think that that's fair to the rest of the players to kind of quit on him. So, and I'm not saying he's quitting on him, but I wonder what he is going to do over the last couple months.
And there's cracks in the clubhouse culture. That's undeniable after what happened with Jax today, because I feel like Jax is a pretty level-headed guy just in general.
He's a military man.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
He is paid to be level-headed.
Yeah, but I'm with him, and having Correa in there, I still think Correa is committed to this team. Like, that's a situation that you don't throw yourself into if you're not committed to the team. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know what he does. This could get so ugly. Like, today, and we're overreacting to the absolute max based on what happened today. But this next series is going to be interesting because this feels like a snowball that's going to get a lot bigger.
All right, well, let's look at a couple moments we thought were key from this series.
Minnesota moment.
I'll just go back to what feels like a distant positive memory here, but game 1, bottom of the night. The funniest thing, I'm watching this game, and it's even kind of getting late in my time. It's like after 9 o'clock Pacific, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, well, there's like more Red Sox fans there than Twins fans, but it's like in the way that I have more girls in my one class than boys, right? I mean, there's like 15 Red Sox fans and like 6 Twins fans seemingly left. But the way that the Twins put together a rally in the bottom of the 9th in game 1, I mean, it was fascinating to me. So Brooks Lee he's down 0-2. He's got the bases loaded after Correa has kind of lined into a fielder's choice here that didn't allow the game to get tied. And Brooks Lee lofts a high outside pitch into left field for a game-winning 2 runs, coming off Jordan Hicks, not Aroldis Chapman, by the way, who had pitched the last couple games for the Red Sox. But what an unlikely outcome, and what a fun moment that just kind of reminded me of, like, this is why I like watching baseball games.
Right? Have you ever been to a game like that where there's like an hour-and-a-half rain delay and there's no one in the stadium? I went to a Twins-Brewers game, actually, and a lot of people left because it was like an hour-and-a-half rain delay and the game went 18 innings or something like that. And the Twins won in a walk-off. I think it was a Span walk-off. Someone can fact-check me on that, but it was awesome. There's like 100 people left in the stadium and you're all so into it and you're all like talking to each other because everyone can hear. It's so fun. So I was jealous of all those people there. I doubt I would have stayed, but I was jealous of them because it's actually, I've never left a baseball game early, so I probably would have stayed. But it's a fun environment. I loved that. That's a good Minnesota Minnesota moment.
What about you?
Well, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
I went with this replay was all over Twitter, but Jeffers on the dropped third strike, thinking he had the ball in his glove, trying to tag the guy, and then when he goes to grab the glove, or the ball out of the glove, just being like, "What?" It was such a good moment, and it felt like the Twins running into the All-Star break a little bit. So I like picking my Minnesota moments as summing up more than just the series. We're winning a couple series. We're 2 games under 500. We're kind of feel like maybe we're going back, and then we get a third strike. We're doing good, and then no, it's not there, and the rug just whoosh right from under us.
This is as good a moment as any to congratulate the Jeffers family on the birth of their next child. He is back with the team. So we like your Ryan Jeffers even when you make some questionable plays, but I don't question his heart in that moment.
No, and to be fair, he thought he had the ball, totally. And it looked like he had the ball. It's just such a great moment. I do love it when baseball players look stupid because they're so good at their job. It's like watching golfers at the U.S. Open sometimes. It's fun. All
right, let's go on and ask our questions here.
I just don't know how it can get any better.
Mauer's Musings.
So, Hoges, what does it say to you that Byron Buxton 2 weeks ago, very publicly says he wants to stay in Minnesota, not waiving his trade clause? He's a Twin for life. They can't get rid of him. And then Correa, kind of on the sly, reportedly says that he might be okay with going back to the Astros in a trade. Like, this dichotomy here. You talked about cracks earlier. Like, is this an irreparable crack? Something where you have to bring in a contractor and say, sorry, guys, we got to tear the whole thing up and rebuild this thing? Or is this something that they can fix?
Maybe my brain just can't handle more bad news, but I'm not as upset about this as you are.
I'm terribly upset.
And I
this
think
is so frustrating.
I think you should be, but it's like not, you know how sometimes your brain just puts up blocks and the information goes in and just bounces right out? I feel like I'm doing that with this one a little bit. Like, it's his old team. So there's a little bit of like, I can get you wanting to go
the old
and
girlfriend
he said,
or anything like that.
I kept wanting to use that as a metaphor. I'm like, that's a horrible metaphor. I cannot use that.
I'm your wife.
The whole time you were talking, that's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, nope, that's going to make me lose that argument so fast. And for the record, I have only had one girlfriend and one wife my entire life, so I wouldn't even have.
So you could be Correa here in this metaphor.
I think it's more of a like that's the one team that he would go back for, and if that opportunity was there and it's a good team and he's still getting paid the contract he is, I'm less upset. Because I'm upset about so much more.
Because then we'd have to worry about, like, do we cheer Correa? Do we join the chorus of boos whenever
I think we go right back to booing.
I think we would too immediately. We have no
weird.
Scruples, Minnesota fans here with that. Okay, well, what's your question?
I kind of alluded to it earlier, and I actually, David had a great Mauer's Musing, but I just don't want to use it because I think it'll bug
Why
him.
is he sending a Mauer's Musing?
It drives me crazy. It just annoys me so much. But my question is, does this team have a mentality problem? Because it seems when the going gets rough, they get worse. And it's happened so many times with this core. And I mean, they talked about it at the end of last year when, like, Correa made hints at, like, felt like some of the guys gave up, and it feels like they did it. And I don't think him and Buxton are responsible for this, but they're not bringing anyone else. Maybe Brooks Lee they brought along with them on that, but we haven't even talked about Chris Paddock yet. He felt like a guy that kind of brought that intensity.
True.
And now he's with the Tigers for
he had a great start on today, by the way. 6 innings,
so
0 runs, and like -2.
Yeah, the Twins got a catcher prospect for that trade, we lost Dobnik too, which we haven't talked about that yet either. But it's just it feels like that's like they don't have that fire when stuff gets bad, that they block out the noise and they win a couple games. That's such a hard thing to quantify, but it seems like it's happened over and over again. Do you think that this team does have a mentality problem?
We should note, before I answer that, we should note what the Twins got for Duran. So they got a couple prospects here.
Too.
They got a pitching prospect from the Phillies and then also a catching prospect from the Phillies. Hoges, how about you kind of tell the details of what they got there?
So yeah, the news came out right away that the Twins got 2 top prospects from the Phillies. So their top 2 are Painter and Miller, who are both top 20 MLB prospects. One's a shortstop, one's a pitcher. Great stuff. Painter's a 6'7" guy. And so I'm getting really excited. I'm starting to be like, okay, maybe these are the 2 prospects. No, we didn't get that. We got their 56th ranked
56th
prospect
overall in
56th
baseball,
overall,
believe,
fourth on the team, and then their 6th ranked prospect. The 4th ranked prospect was Eduardo Tate. He's a catcher. He's had like good power numbers, it looks like, but the defense isn't quite there. He's really young though. I think he's 19, so there's a lot of room for growth there. The Twins, as far as I know, their organization has been praised for how well they do with developing catchers. And then Mick Abel, who's actually thrown some games in the major leagues already, seems like he has good stuff. I did send you guys, I was looking up his StatCast, and they put like pitchers that are comparable, and it said Zebby Matthews, and I was like, oh, sweet. That's
another
what we
Zebby.
need.
That's what we need right now.
I am a firm believer that if you have a major league all-star under team control and you're trading him for prospects, you will never win that trade, or very, 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 very unlikely. And by all accounts, everyone says we got a pretty good haul on this with getting 2 consensus top 100 guys. But it's like the NFL draft. You trade around those picks and you end up with a Ryan Leaf just as often as you end up with a Peyton Manning.
Easy there with the Ryan Leaf reference. I thought we had aged out of that.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Ryan Leaf is very old. This is a Washington State cut. I'm a Washington State grad.
I
Hope's
know.
taking a Wisconsin, a Scotty shot here. We'll have to check the scoreboard. Anyway.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. We don't.
We don't have to talk about. Neither of us wants to talk about college football right now. So to answer your question, and I agree with you on the trades. I'm always very reluctant, especially when you got a guy in team control. I just with all the other teams that wanted him. I do think that there's a mentality problem here, but I think, again, it probably starts with Rocco. Like, yeah. I don't know. When the new owner comes in, I think they're probably going to clean house here. I could be wrong, and I hope that I'm wrong, but I want a more veteran manager to come into this team down the road here.
This is serious, Dan. You and I are probably Rocco's biggest defenders,
I
I would
like
say,
Rocco.
for the most part. And
he's
both
got
of
twins
us,
for children. I mean, for goodness sake. Like, how do you get more twin than Rocco? But
David is probably just freaking out right now that we're both this negative about it. But I don't know. That I agree with you. It comes down to the manager.
Do you think, by the way, that the Twins is there any path here where they're actually a better baseball team after the trade deadline? And I mean that is in the sense that that the quality of play actually improves.
Well, I mean, not so far. I mean, we traded Paddock and we threw out Funderburk and whatever their names were for that game. But it has happened in the past. Was it 2017 where they traded half the team away and then we ended up roaring back and making it to the wild card and going up 3-0 on the Yankees, and then I don't remember what happened the rest of that game. It must have been fun, but
it was not fun against the Yankees. Nothing fun there. I just wonder because they've got some younger guys who maybe we see Eddie Julian again. We've forgotten about him.
Why do you like him so? You keep bringing
because he's
him
hitting
up.
well. He's doing well down there in wherever he's
I'm
playing.
excited for
St.
Keishel.
Paul. That's all he is.
Like I think Castro's gone. He's got to be. He's probably gone by
so. Well, he already said
I haven't
goodbye.
even checked Twitter recently. He's probably gone as we're speaking right now. I think Keishel for Castro, fine. If I can't see Castro take a lollygag tour down to first base on a double play anymore.
Hair that glows when I
was a little late on that one.
But you lose me a wee bit with the Julian makes them better coming up.
That's probably fair. All right, well, let's move forward here. We got to grade this
No,
series.
we don't.
Series grades.
You did your metric.
I did.
If last series wasn't worthy of you doing it because you knew what it was, what changed?
Because I'm at a teacher conference, Hoges. I can't be at a teacher conference and not use my rubric. I will go first. I'll even jump ahead in the line. So momentum is a negative too. Like on the pendulum, this is not good.
I would say
decision making. I think it's a 0. I don't know. I mean, there were some smart plays, but nothing was going to win them this series because of the decisions they made. Stars though, -2. You don't have Buxton. Correa has a migraine. Ryan and Lopez don't pitch. Duran gets traded. Castro's about to. You have no stars left. They're all gone.
They're gone.
Mid's a 0 because I had to get some grade there, and then the youth gets actually a +2 because that's the hope that I have right now. The hope is in the proles, I think, is a phrase from 1984, and I feel like I got a little bit of hope here. Which actually, now that I really did my math correctly, I think they actually might have passed here, Hoges. Let's see. No, they didn't pass. It's still an F, 13 out of 25. It's in the 50%. There's hope, but it's not enough, Hoges, for me.
No idea where you're getting this hope. It's
Sorry.
an F, and it's a 0 out of 25, a -2s all around. I don't even think you, on your scale, you can't get a 0 out of 25.
It's impossible, actually. Thank you for noticing that. See, that's the hopeful teacher in me, right? Growth mindset. You always start with something.
Yeah, there's no hope with this baseball team anymore. But with all my free time that I will spend not watching the Twins, it's no secret being on the lake is a great way to live. But when you find yourself in a busy boat or a cramped pontoon where everyone has brought their own giant cooler, this is the moment you realize you need an AquaDock from Rave Sports. Don't settle for the weaker option from the other guys, because if you have a Lily, you're just being silly. The AquaDock from Rave is the goat of the float. Unlike the saggy, hard to roll up competition, the AquaDock blows up easy, is the perfect 10 by 10 size, and is just as sturdy as the dock you walked out to your boat on. So what are you waiting for? Give your pontoon the water patio it's always wanted and pick up an AquaDock at ravesports.com. And remember to use the promo code PULLTAB for 20% off your order. Rave Sports, make waves.
I don't know, Jack. It looked like Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
Herbie's headlines.
Yeah, so this is not uplifting. I will start with the truly sad one. So Ryan Sandberg, who played for the Cubs for a long time, he's actually a Spokane native, so he's a bit of a hero.
Oh, really?
Yeah, around these parts. He died of cancer at age 65. Just a memorable player. And I think, at least for me, I don't know about you, Hoges.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
But I remember watching the Cubs on WGN when they were
I do
on.
too.
Okay, you do. All right, so we're close enough on that. He is a memorable player, and again, it's sad to see baseball lose one of its greats.
Well, and by all accounts, too, a great person off the field, too. You know when like sports writers are raving about a guy, that you know that they really hit it off, because that can be a contentious relationship, and everything that I've read from guys has nothing but nice things to say. It's cool to hear former teammates, but yeah, a great ball player gone too soon.
So then, speaking of ball players gone, and maybe even too soon, Hoges, we could argue that's a nasty transition, but I'm going to say it anyway. Emmanuel Clase, who actually also has a Spokane tie, he played for the Spokane Indians single A team out here. Yeah, I saw him. I think I might have interviewed him once.
Wow.
But he's being investigated.
Did you give him some tips on your some prop? Oh, so did you benefit, Dan? Did you benefit?
I am not getting pulled into a gambling.
Dan
ring
is
here.
actually in a gold crusted, and like gold engravings all over the background of his hotel right now. I don't think he's actually had a teacher conference. He may be in Dubai right now with all of his winnings.
That's just beige paint there behind me, Hoges. It's not gold. But he's being investigated in a betting situation. Luis Ortiz, his Cleveland Guardians teammate, was investigated just earlier this month, I believe, Hoges. But this is a shady situation here.
Yeah, and if you look at, like, some people have done clips on, like, pitches that he, like, where the spikes in the betting happened and what pitches he had, for a guy that has unbelievable control. The Luis Ortiz ones were horrible, right? Yes. He's thrown, like, 8 feet outside on the first pitch. Clase is a better pitcher, so he was able to hide it a bit more. But looking at his stats from last year to this year and seeing what happened on those first pitches, it looks really, 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 really bad.
Yeah, and so hopefully it's not true, but we've talked about this and the problems that once you open that bag and you let the cat out of it, that's
if you open the cat, we've got problems.
Ogres are like onions.
I think
End
they're
of
coming
story.
back from that one.
Not the right one. Okay, have you heard the phrase, like, there's many ways to skin a cat?
Yeah.
Okay, when I use that in class, I terrify my students. Like when I mention, like, it doesn't matter how you start your essay. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and they are like,
"What is Mr. Thompson doing?"
Anyway, we don't. But once you let the cat out of the bag here,
there we go.
In gambling, we're gonna see more of this, aren't we?
Yeah, and so I've been listening to a couple things, like on the Chris Rose does a podcast. He was talking about, well, there's tons of alcohol advertisements at baseball games, and it doesn't mean that you can just drive drunk, right? Mm-hmm. So they have gambling, but the players know the rules, and there is some truth to that, right? They know what's going on. The fact that it's legal right now means that they can actually track this, so they can see when there's spikes in betting, and then that's when they start investigations. We don't know how much was going on before it was legal. One thing that is true, though, is all of these prop bets are so much more prevalent. That used to not be a thing, as far as I know.
You could bet on who was going to win or lose the game when Pete Rose was
exactly.
doing this,
and I agree with you. Like, we've opened this bag and there's sponsorship, and I hate it, and I think it's leading down to that. I do think he makes a good point about how players are still absolutely responsible for their actions, and they know exactly what the punishments are.
Yeah.
So it's less of like, you knew this was going to happen. Yes, you're inviting it, but they still have to be responsible for it. We've talked about this a lot. It's an incredibly slippery slope, and it feels like we're sliding down it fast. I guess my silver lining to it, though, is that they're catching it, and I don't think that was happening before, and now maybe this, I don't know, in a weird way is going to weed it out of the game. But again, this isn't the last we're going to talk about this, right? Like, it's going to keep happening with how it's hitting every sport. You hear about NBA guys that over and under on their rebounds and stuff, and then they end up exiting in the first quarter, and there's questions about that. It's going to be a part of sports right now, and the punishments need to be swift and they need to be severe, because there's a lot of money involved in this, and guys need to hurt for that, and I don't think they should play again if you're found guilty of this.
I would agree. Poor shoeless Joe Jackson, Field of Dreams. Right?
Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah, we brought it full circle.
He was
there we
innocent.
go.
All right, let's move on. We got to make Puckett's picks for whatever the series is next, Hoges.
And we'll see you tomorrow night. Puckett's Picks.
I want to be sassy and just pick guys that I think are going to be traded, like Bader or France or
it is the Guardians they're playing. Ironically, we won't see Clase. I don't have to face Clase.
Yeah, there we go.
Or Luis Ortiz for that matter. So the listeners are going to stick with Royce Lewis because we know he will be on the team.
I would imagine.
David, on his way to Indy, was able to squeeze out a text message to tell us that he's picking Brooks Lee.
Yeah, like Lee makes sense. I think that's exactly the order that it should have gone so far. I really don't know. I'm going to pick Wallner just to annoy you. I'm going to pick Wallner.
I believe that you would.
Yeah, that's a moose.
Oh, gosh. So I am not picking Correa out of protest. I'm mad at Correa for his public comments here, but that does immediately, that thins the
public,
deck
you
quite
say
a bit.
No, that's not fair. I mean, he did make public comments.
Sorry, it wasn't public. I
Only
guess
because
this
the private
was
ones became made public, and then he made public comments on it.
You know what? Let's see here. Let's go with Ryan Jeffers. He's riding the high of having a new child. He's probably not. He's probably not sleeping very much. But we're just going to hope that Ryan Jeffers... I don't like to pick catchers because they don't play very frequently. But what the heck? I'm going to give him a go.
Who is going to care other than Brooks Lee? David is going to win this one.
Well, for David's sake, for Brooks Lee's sake, I hope he does. Well, Hoges, we have another episode together on Sunday after this Guardian series. We'll see. We'll be able to talk about any future trades. And heck, if there's a bunch of trades made, maybe we'll hop on and have an earlier episode.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to hear you talk about Correa tomorrow night in the haul we got from the Astros.
Well, folks, if you like what you hear, please tell a friend. You can follow us on X at Min for the Win and find our Min for the Win Facebook and Instagram pages. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform so you're notified when new episodes are available. And if you could leave us a rating or a like, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show further, you can find us on Patreon. The link is in the description. Thank you for listening, and as always, go Twins. That'll wrap up another episode of Min for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Thanks so much for listening, and as always, go Twins.